I'm Celine Wesselaar from the province of South Holland, but I work for an intergovernmental program called Startup in Residence Intergov, with multiple ministries and also municipalities. So together we try to tackle societal challenges, a little bit like what you do, but we do that a little bit broader than only for GovTech. But a lot of solutions nowadays are GovTech, because we see that same trends happening as you guys do. So a little bit about the Startup in Residence Intergov program is that we're an impact program that brings together the government and innovative entrepreneurs to tackle those societal challenges. And together in co-creation between a civil servant and a startup, we try to make fresh and new ideas into scalable solutions. And it's an official procedure, so we have official tendering, and therefore we can also be a launching customer to the solutions that we together with the startup develop. So how do we create and how do we aim to create this impact? First of all, I'm the innovation lead for the province of South Holland, or the project lead. What I do is I go into our own organization, so into the province, and I try to see what kind of urgent matters are occurring and what kind of problems do we face that don't really have a good solution yet. And also we don't really know what the solution could be. And this could be a lot of different topics. For example, in the field of nature, we have things around gooses, which cause a lot of problems. Also nutrition, a lot of topics, but also more GovTech related topics. So what we do is we create challenges around those topics and we publish them online for everyone, open for everyone with a good idea. So you don't really necessarily have to be a startup yet. You can start a startup to tackle the idea. And because we made the tendering procedure a lot easier, so you only have to hand in a 2-pager at the first selection round. It's very open for everyone to come up with a good idea for the challenges that we're facing. And after the full procedure, we make matches between the startups and the civil servants. So every challenge gets one civil servant and one startup, and they work together to solve the problem. But of course, the civil servant also has a big and broad network inside our own organization, but also in other organizations, governmental organizations. So they can really help you to bring your idea and your solution a lot further than you initially can think about. And then after 5 months, we aim to have a pilot or a prototype which we can test and which we can see if it really works. And because of the type of procurement that we do, we can also do, after a successful pilot, we try to see if we can become launching customer and really make the impact scalable also inside our own organization. So a little bit of small facts and figures. We do 2 editions every year, and we're currently selecting for the 12th edition, so you can check it online. We have new challenges open, intergov.nl. And we already have over 170 challenges published, 2,100 and more admissions by startups, and almost 35% gets a follow-up assignment, or we really try to scale those solutions, or we become a launching customer. So then it brings us to what challenge we solved today, and also why UTF is also presenting here today. We had this challenge about how can we make the government open by design. In the Netherlands, we have this law that states that we need to be an open government, and decision-making processes need to be transparent and at all times. So this means we have an active open government, stating that you need to publish all the documents around state counseling, state meetings, city council, whatever, but also a passive one. So, for example, if you're a civilian and you want to know more about the decision-making process of a new residential area that is happening around you, you can always go to the government and ask about certain types of documents or ask certain type of questions. And we as a government have to give you those documents or publish them. But of course, not all documents are written with that in mind, because it doesn't happen that often. So sometimes documents contain a lot of personal information about a civil servant or about a certain type of topic, or sensitive information about a certain company. And we have to make sure that those kind of information is not open for everyone, because it's privacy information, or it doesn't really matter for the case that it's written down for. And that's because not everybody thinks about that everything that we as a government write or publish or have to or do is open for everyone. In the end, we thought about how can we make sure that it happens, and how can we make a government open by design. And that's when UTF already had a good idea, and they sort of transformed it a little bit so it fitted our needs, and that's why we selected them. So of course we met them, I think, a little, not even a year ago. We were in this during the summer we had this talk about, can you tackle this problem for us, because it's taking us a lot of time. And they had already had a solution which they were making, which could tackle a few of our problems, which was really nice. And then they said, if we make a few adjustments and we learn a little bit more about this Open Government Act, because it's also a very complicated act, we can make sure that our solution also tackles your problem. And so in the end, it's also a little bit of right moment, right time. I had a few enthusiastic colleagues that really wanted to have something around this topic, and they had this good idea which they presented to us, and then the match was made. And I think Leonard is now going to talk a little bit more about the solution.
Yes, so hi everybody. I'm Leonard Pachter. I'm from UTF.ai, and I work very closely with all kinds of government organizations to co-create solutions. UTF.ai, I view us as sports teams that we aim to become champions. So it's a group of people. I'm in the office right now. I'm looking at them that work to achieve something together that others can't. And people work here because they enjoy excelling in what they do, taking on responsibility, and collaborating with other talented people to build something that matters. And that's also exactly why UTF is growing, because UTF and the team that we have simply delivers AI solutions as a partner for the government. So what did we actually build over the last, let's say, 5-6 months, and what did we achieve, and what did we learn, and what can maybe the people in this room learn from this as well? I'll explain. So, as probably familiar, documents and everything that the government produces needs to comply with a lot of standards, a lot of frameworks. One of them is the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. The other one in the Netherlands is this Open Government Act that Celine talked about, that requires that documents are transparent and can be, in theory, published. And you can view this as, on the European standard, as this regulation regarding the public access to European Parliament, Council, and Commission documents. It's similar to that. And finally, there are language levels, which all kinds of communications and documents of the government simply need to comply with. So there are these frameworks that exist. People must comply with these, but this is a process, the one of of the transparency that is only done with 10% GovTech and 90% manual. And in the Netherlands, that rounds up to about 180 million a year in costs just for manual work to comply with a standard, and very important standard. Transparency is basis of the democracy, but this seemed to us like an important problem to work on, which one of my key points today is find an important problem to work on. So what did we do? First, we built the software, we built the solution. So as Celine said, we already built, we were already specialized in AI-driven compliance tools. So we had this framework of the language levels, of other writing, of checking on writing rules and writing guidelines for different documents and formats within the government. And we had some clients already on that solution, but the province was interested in basically adding another framework to this, and that's the framework of open by design, making documents transparent, which is very hard for a person to do manually, because it also requires a lot of understanding of what it takes to do this. So we built the solution, and what we did is we built the solution very closely in co-creation with the end users and with the person responsible within the organization, within the province. And I think that really matters, because you want to build something that's not your own imagination or your own solution to the problem, but the thing that actually connects with users, the thing that actually solves the problem in the end. So we co-created this in about 5 months, and also made sure that this software complies with all the external requirements. Is it safe? Where is it hosted? Stuff like that. And then you have a product, and then you need to pilot. You need to prove that your product is valuable in any way. So that's step 2. We did a pilot at the province, and I think what's really important, what we learned here, is that you want to sit with with the budget holder for the follow-up assignment before you start your pilot, and you ask them, what do we want to see? What are the key performance indicators? What do we want to achieve in order to make this pilot successful? And you ask this to the budget holder, but also to the users, like, when would you feel like we delivered, or our product delivered the thing you want? When did we actually solve the problem and identify that? So then you set up a pilot. We had a period of about 2 months. We had some indicators of what we want to achieve, and we had real ownership within our organization. I was the owner for this, and real ownership within the government organization, where somebody felt responsible and was organizing things. And obviously with the help of Intergov and Celine especially, we managed to get the right people involved, because you want draagvlak, we call it in the Netherlands, which is commitment from the whole organization, people that matter. And the pilot was successful, so we managed to get the key performance indicators. We evaluated, and being UTF, we also try to over deliver in that, and we think that I showed you those pictures where I was training users in my yellow jacket. That's the thing, especially with software. I feel that human contact is still a big part of success and of adoption, and people know you, people talk to you, people ask questions. You can do some iteration around even within a pilot. So the pilot was successful, and we are closing a contract of 4 years with the province of South Holland to go further. And there's still one green light left, and that's because I think it's really important to mention the last step in this process, which is when we did some kind of innovation at the province of South Holland. It's really important that other organizations basically profit from this as well. So we are now in the phase where other organizations are actually using the product that the province of South Holland built with us, which is a beautiful thing, and it's also economically very sustainable to just reuse those solutions. And that brings us to my message today, which is build something that is important. I mentioned it. Try to co-create with users, and I mention I recommend reading the MOM test. It's a book about how to ask the right questions to get reliable data and to know if your idea is good, even if you ask your mom. That's why it's called the MOM test. And then realize that everybody in this room, we're building important things within Europe, which I think is beautiful. So keep doing what you're doing. I would like to invite everybody to, if you want, connect me on LinkedIn, send me a message. I'm open to conversations, meeting everybody. Also, we are hiring really aggressively right now. So if that interests you, if the mission interests you, feel free to shoot me a message. And I'm open to questions, and Celine as well right now.